genocide. Sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one makes countries laugh to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social side, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See the shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one makes countries lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Rock the Boat right here on UCY.TV, my favorite little online network. Got some really good hosts on this network. And if you're listening, please move this network around. You know, put a little card out, UCY.TV, give it to your friends and neighbors, because the time for being stupid is over. This time, everybody wise up. We got a lot of work to do. Speaking of work, if I shovel any more frickin' snow, I'm going to puke. I shoveled out our place twice yesterday. And I don't just have a little short driveway and a little short sidewalk. Like my sidewalk's 180 feet long. And then I shovel all around the house for the cats and the squirrels. And then I have an old neighbor living next door with a big driveway. Shoveled her out twice yesterday. Then I get up this morning, had to shovel out here again. And then didn't get around to doing my neighbor's place till, what time did I get at that? Around 5:30. Took me 3/4 an hour. Frickin' plows, plugging everything up. And so now we're doing a show. So life is good. If anybody, this is the most important announcement or question I'm going to ask anybody for a long time. If anybody knows how to get rid of these stupid ads on Skype, let me know, please. Just stick it in the chat or whatever. You know, I have, since I got on the internet when it first showed up, I haven't had to deal with too many ads. And now I have ads on Skype, and I don't like ads. Do you know that right now, if I can join CAA members, save up to 20% on auto insurance? Get a quote, click here. I don't want to. I don't even want to look at the stupid thing. Go away. But I don't know how to get rid of it. Strange stuff. I got a note today from somebody that the Queen's dead, which I don't think is correct. Let me see. It doesn't appear to be, or I think it will be on the front page here. But this here really irritates the snot out of me. Canadian citizenship applications surge after government relaxes language and residency rules. In other words, let's open the borders even wider. take a boo at this real quick and see what's cooking. Here you have a bunch of stupid people holding a Canadian flag with what looks like a judge. 17,500 applications filed in week after requirements revised compared to 3,600 in an average week. Yeah. There was a spike in application for Canadian citizenship after the government relaxed the rules around residency requirements and language proficiency this fall. So, you know, this country's supposed to have 2 official languages, French and English, but apparently there's 122 different languages or something spoken in Toronto now. Now, how in the hell, talk about Babylon, how in the hell are anybody supposed to communicate with each other when you don't have, it doesn't matter what the hell you speak. So they have a graph here and the weekly applications. Well, geez, it looks like Al Gore's climate change model here. Tooting along nicely, and then all of a sudden a huge spike. So I suppose you could look at all these immigrants as CO2 emitters, and we're supposed to, they want us to, by 2050 or something, reduce our CO2 emissions in our country by 80%. Yet they're bringing in millions of migrants who most of them ain't going to work, and they all puke out CO2. So I think the easiest way to get the borders closed here is to alert Greenpeace and David Suzuki and Al Gore that this influx of migrants is driving up our CO2 levels to an unmanageable height. Maybe we can shut the borders down. I mean, we closed all our coal plants because of CO2 emissions. I would think that 1 million migrants would be at least equal, if not more, than the 4 coal plants we had in Ontario. So I think what we'll have to do is close the borders, because you can't have all this CO2 flying around. Anyways, reducing the physical presence requirement gives more flexibility to applicants to meet requirements for citizenship and encourage more immigrants to take the path to citizenship, said immigration, refugees, and citizenship spokeswoman. Isn't that sexist? We couldn't call people actresses and actors anymore. They also had to be actors. So we have the Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship spokeswoman, Nancy Karen. Should be either spokesperson or the idiot from Refugee and Citizenship or something. But to say spokeswoman, that's got to be some sort of sexist remark. From citizenship, no doubt. This helps individuals who have already begun building lives in Canada. Citizenship faster. In recent years, there has been an average of 200,000 citizenship applications submitted each year. Fluctuations in applications rates are expected after rule changes, so the department put resources in place to handle surge capacity and keep processing times below the 12-month service standard. Andrew Griffin, a former senior immigration official, author, and fellow of the Canadian Global Affairs Institute. Huh? I mean, this stuff just makes me want to puke. Former senior immigration official, author, and fellow of the Canadian Global Affairs Institute. I don't give a shit about global affairs. I care about the affairs of this nation. And as soon as you bring the global into it, well, you got problems, don't you? He says it's too early to tell if the jump in numbers represents a blip or part of a longer-term trend. Really? Are you that stupid? Let me see. The reason that you changed the residency rules and the language rules is why? To spike immigration. But you this former senior immigration official, doesn't know if it's just a blip or a long-term trend. Are you serious? But he believes an increased rate of citizenship fosters social cohesion and he eases community tensions as immigrants have a deeper connection to the country and to Canadian society. Well, wait a minute. The Prime Minister said we didn't have a core society, but you say we do. And if you don't have to speak the language, how is that going to be fostering social cohesion and ease community tensions? I mean, the fact that the newspapers and the media even print this crap shows you where the media is at. Just print this, make it sound good, don't ask any questions, and don't read anything, and don't look up any documents. So we're going to look at this integration journey. We want people to become citizens because we believe that's part of the integration journey, he said. That helps them feel part of Canada and ultimately should improve all economic, social, and political outcomes of the country. Now, what the hell is that statement based on? Let me think. Nothing. Except propaganda. We want people to become citizens because we, who the hell are we? Who is we? We want people because we believe. Who is this we? The UN? I would think so. And those who started the UN for not world peace, as it was sold to the people way back when. That helps them feel part of Canada. And ultimately improve all economic, social, political outcomes of the country. You know what it's going to do is it's going to start a civil frickin' war. But then you clowns already know this. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I got somebody trying to call in here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This could be dangerous. I don't know if it's the Pope, the PM. I don't know who this is. Uh-oh. Are you a nice fella or are you one of them global buggers?
I'm not sure. I think globalism is becoming more popular these days.
Yeah, I actually had my head sort of round, and I actually shaved my head and had a globe tattooed on my head, and it's quite nice. When I spin around, you can pick different countries. It's pretty slick. I think we should all be doing that.
That reminds me of that. You know that video that everybody I guess they call it video now. But that movie where they had that Charlie Chaplin spinning the globe and blaming it all on Hitler, right? Hitler wanted to conquer the world.
No,
that's globalism, isn't it? Or am I wrong?
Well,
I just thought of that. It just came to me when you said globalism. Like, just boom. just came to my head that Charlie Chaplin spinning the globe with the mask of Adolf Hitler. I want to conquer and rule the world.
I put that. You sent me that thing about the police, eh?
Which one?
The most wanted.
Oh yeah.
So I posted that.
All white people.
Yeah, and that's basically what I said. I said that your take was that white people were the problem, and so I put a couple pictures in there, and the second guy on the list who's wanted for murder, there's a bunch of Mohammeds in there, and all of those on the most wanted are not Europeans, and the second guy's in. His name is Ikil Whytes, Whytes or something. That's supposedly his name.
Yeah.
Now, if that doesn't give you an idea of what's going on, I don't know what will. But it's pretty. I can't share anything I post right now. I am in Facebook jail again.
Well, to give it some context, Ron, you got to understand that this is actually from is it the Toronto Police? That's the one I said.
Yeah.
It's from their actual website.
Yeah.
So it's a legitimate website. We can't make this stuff up.
No, we can't. But I was a little disturbed. I only got a few comments on it. And the comments seem completely lame, saying that, but people who have dual citizenship or from other countries can always run back to their own countries, even if it doesn't have to be murder. It could be you kill somebody with a car or whatever and get the hell out of here. But it's like they're making excuses. And the only one that shared that particular post, see, it's too politically correct touchiness kind of thing for people, right? So the only one that shared it again wasn't a man; it was a woman, and her little picture there is a woman with a little whatever the saying was on it, holding a handgun, right? In other words, she's basically saying "piss off," right? And shared it, but that's it. And I don't know what's wrong with the guys. I saw a younger guy post or commented on somebody else's post that we're screwed because Andrew Scheer is not going to get in the next election. Canada's going down the toilet. And this guy looks like he can't be more than about 30. Now, where these people got this attitude from is beyond me. I don't know how many times I have to write that's the wrong attitude, right? What is wrong with the people in this country? Blows me away. I never seen such a spineless bunch of people. They're taking you down. So you're saying, well, they're taking us down, right? We're going to be a third world nation. And that's the best you can do is oh my God, we're going to be a third world nation. There's nothing we can do about it. Like, have they messed people up that freaking bad that it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that the people in this nation have become that freaking weak that they just, I guess we'll just roll over. I don't want to see this end up in a civil war. But if the attitudes don't change pretty damn quick, we're either going to do this peacefully or it's going to turn into a shit mess. And there's no need to go there. But it's like people are bent on riding this to the bottom. And if you didn't have any spine to stand up when you know what's going on, how the hell you plan on standing up when we hit bottom? You know, it sickens me, the weakness of these people.
Ron.
Yeah.
There's an issue with our children, and I actually was caught up on that for a while. We used to tell our children, get off those video games. Stop watching television. It's going to wreck your brain. Those are and not too long ago, old days is what we used to tell our children. Now, nobody says nothing. And the kids, it's instant entertainment, constantly.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, I remember when my nephews came out to the cottage when they were all pretty young. And, you know, we got canoes and we got fishing poles and we got a little private lake and we got another lake right beside us. It's a lot bigger. And, you know.
That was entertainment.
Well, yeah, we had horseshoe pits and you know, we had lots of stuff to do. And when they came out, the first time they came out, they just freaked me out. They came out with their, what was that? This is a long time ago. It wasn't PlayStation. It was Nintendo or whatever the hell it was. And they come out to the cottage, immediately went in the cottage and started hooking up their gear to the TV to play video games. And you go, like, you ain't doing that crap out here, boys, right? I mean, it boggled my mind. So we had to teach them basically how to swim, teach them how to canoe, teach them how to build a fire. But once we got them into that, they didn't anymore give a shit about video games, right? Because they figured out that this is a lot more interesting and more physical than a stupid video game, right? Like, why would you want to play a fishing video game when you can go fishing? Doesn't make any damn sense, you know? So, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I'd like to smash off. I keep getting people on Facebook wanting me to hook up the Messenger, right? So we can text, right? Well, you know, I don't have a cell phone, folks, right? So I can't use Messenger. And, you know, there's a million ways to communicate. You can leave me a message. We can communicate through Facebook back and forth. But everything's off a cell phone now, eh? And I don't have one, and I ain't getting one, right? That'll be the last man on the planet that doesn't have a cell phone. And people say, well, how the hell can you get along without a cell phone? Well, I didn't have one before cell phones, and I got along just fine. And when I see people, you know, a group of people walking down the street and nobody's talking to each other, they all got their own little crap going on with their cell. Maybe they're texting each other. I have no idea what they're doing. But, you know, that's worse than a video. To me, the cell phones are worse than video games, man. Just throw them stupid things away. Somebody wants to get a hold of you, they get a hold of you. Right? I don't, you know. I mean, we built houses. We ran a company. We ran companies. We were running companies when I was in my 20s. Didn't have any cell phones. And got along just fine. The world didn't end. Business didn't end. So, no, everybody's so detached from reality now. It's ridiculous. But this is good because I just want to finish this up. The immigration minister, Ahmed Hussein, who is an Ismaili Muslim. Yeah, that's right, folks. If you don't live in Canada, our immigration minister is an Ismaili Muslim. And we want to make it just as easy as possible for all of you to come to Canada. And it just makes me want to puke. But what do you think? If I'm going to fly, I should get a hold of Suzuki and tell them, you're all worried about CO2, and with all these migrants coming in here, everybody exhales CO2. So again, the harder we try to reduce our CO2 emissions, the higher they're going to go up, because you keep dragging people in here that we don't want here. So shut the borders down, and we'll just say it's a CO2 problem. We'll call it sequestering CO2 by shutting down the borders. And maybe we'll get somewhere with the environmental people. I don't know. Freaking sad. I was looking at I wish everybody would do that. Go look at Pyongyang, which is the biggest city in North Korea. Go look at this place. And I've been shoveling snow all day and running around, but I didn't get a chance to go and tie anybody together on it. But I swear to God, you're going to find UN stuff in here. You're probably going to tag Rockefeller to either the city or North Korea. Now, North Korea, they're always bitching and complaining about nationalism is a bad thing, but nobody's bombed North Korea, But when you look at Pyongyang, it is Agenda 21 to a freaking T. It's exactly what they're doing to our cities in the West. Okay, the city's like 3-point-something million people. Bike paths everywhere. Very few vehicles on the road. Most of the vehicles, these are really big, wide streets. And vehicles on the road hardly. Most of the vehicles on the road are government vehicles or maintenance vehicles, but you don't see very many private vehicles running around there, which is exactly what they want to do here. They want to get you out of your private vehicle. The other thing they do in there is they built all these high rises and made it just like what they're want to do the cities here, making little communities. So you live where you work and you shop where you live, even though the city's 3-point-something million people, it's little containment zones, basically, which is exactly what they're pushing here through Agenda 21. Okay, you shouldn't have to travel to work, and you shouldn't have to travel too far to go get your groceries and that. So it's these little communities. And why am I seeing all of this stuff in North Korea? Not only am I seeing it in North Korea, it's been there for a long time. And it would seem to me, I'm going to have to research this out, but it would seem to me that this closed country has got a lot to do with what they're building in the West. They don't want to use electricity. Their own documents say they want us to use 75% less electricity, 75% less water. And, they usually show North Korea as a blacked out country at night. Dick all lights on in North Korea at night. And that's what they're espousing when they do this Earth Day or Earth Hour and that, where you shut all your lights off to save electricity. So if you take a look at North Korea, it looks like the template for Agenda 21. These people don't own their homes, as far as the state owns the houses, as far as I know. And you have your transit systems, your subway systems, and you see very, very few private vehicles running around. And I think this is where they're trying to take us. This whole nonsense of North Korea, it's just as ridiculous as what they did in Iraq. With their weapons of mass destruction, which any idiot knew they didn't have any of. They were tied so tight to the military complex of the United States. It was nuts. Cheney was over there. They were good buddies, and Rumsfeld was good buddies. So what's going on with North Korea, like everything else, is not real. North Korea is not going to bomb anybody. So I'm not exactly sure why North Korea right now, but this idea of Trump, we'll blow them up if they do this or that. Well, there's something wrong with this whole story. The other thing that bothers me is a lot of people are cheering on Putin. Now remember, okay, the Soviet Union was the first union, okay, and then we have the European Union. So if you think that Putin isn't a player in all of this, you best give your head a shake. Okay, Russia, Soviet Union, okay, was the beginning. When they took Russia down and turned it into the Soviet Union, that was the beginning. And they're basically using the same template all across the world. So Putin's a player. I don't know why people can't just see this stuff. It's more than obvious. I mean, Gorbachev, who was whatever he was, the president or whatever of Russia, whatever Putin, or whatever Gorbachev's deal was. I mean, he was tangled up with the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and Morris Strongs and put the Earth Charter together, and he runs the Green Cross. And, I mean, how amoral are these people? Because they're all trying to save the environment, and he just said, kill 95% of the people on the planet, 95, 98% of the people on the planet, and you've solved the environmental problem, didn't you? So, people just react wrongly most of the time, but I really don't give a damn about, although I want to look into North Korea and see if I can tie it together with Rockefeller, Rothschild, or whoever, because it looks extremely like a template. But I don't really give a damn about the United States. I really don't give a damn about Australia. I don't really give a damn about Europe. We have to concentrate on our nation. Okay, because that's really all we got. Now I hear Canadians going, well, I think I'll move to the States because Trudeau's an idiot. Well, you're the idiot for thinking that Trudeau's the idiot. And these people that think, well, we're going to be a third world country. We're going to fix this, whether the globalists like it or not. That seems, guys. Oh well, I wish Trump. I wish Trump was our prime minister. Why? Well, then he'd fix everything. Really? Go look in the mirror. There's the answer. There's the answer right there, staring back at you, twit. This. Well, you could be our hero. Don't like heroes. Heroes don't normally work out too well. They take a hero out, and then they all fold. And I'm pretty sure that's why they killed Kennedy, even though he was still a player in the thing. But he wanted out the Fed, and he wanted out a bunch of other stuff. He wanted to get some truth out there, of which they don't want out. So you're out of here, buddy. So this, and then it was right after that America really started to unwind, and has been unwinding ever since, just like we've been unwinding. And the chaos just keeps getting worse, and out of chaos comes order. So all this chaos that's going on, be it the LGBTQ, be it the migrants, be it the debt load, be it any of these things, it's just chaos. And we're just supposed to get caught up in this nonsense, and then they restructure our society, and that becomes normal. And you will live in an Islamic nation. And all your resources will be controlled from outside your nation. Now, why would you allow that to happen? You know, you got to get out of the child state. And they did. You're not in the child state by mistake. Okay? They're the authority. You're the children. And you, the children, will do what the authority says for you to do. Oh, you can whine and bitch about it all you want. But you can't stand up to authority, or something very nasty will happen to you. Well, they're not authority. They're a bunch of lying, deceiving, amoral SOBs. And we're not children. I mean, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. It's disheartening, to say the least. But on the other hand, I think what we should do is just make a militia of mothers. What do you think, Chris? The Mothers Militia. Oh, to scare the hell out of Ottawa.
Well, you wanted to finish your rant, but your rant kept going so long, I
fell asleep.
Wake up again.
Yeah, I know. I
was at a gas station today because, unfortunately, the government stole my vehicle. I know, it's really sad to hear. They stole it for the fourth time, so I don't have a vehicle, but I paid for another vehicle that another gentleman drives, and I want him to take me up to the reserve for cigarettes. Now, let me finish my point. I said, well, at this point of the game, I gotta have some smokes. I'm a smoker. I apologize for that to those that don't want to breathe my toxic air. But I had to go to a gas station to get a pack of cigarettes. I paid $11.25 for a pack of cigarettes.
Well, you got that cheap.
Yeah, I know. I said I could get a whole carton at the reserve for $12.
I smoke.
And well,
I don't think
the point I'm trying to make here, though, is when the gas station I went to was a packy.
Yeah.
And he could barely speak English. And I went, how do you get this job? Every gas station I go to, it's a packy. How do you guys get these jobs? How come there's no white Europeans in these gas stations running them?
Well, it's...
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, there would be, right?
All grants, Ron.
I know they get grants. They get big grants. They wouldn't be running these things if they didn't get grant money. And I mean, here's ridiculous, right?
Who pays for those grants?
Well, you do.
Mm-hmm.
But you care, right? Right? You care that these people.
I want a grant. I want to run a gas station.
Well, I
don't want to climb ladders no more. I want a grant, and I want to run a gas station. Can I get one, please? Thank you very much, sir.
Well, go get a tan.
Yeah.
I found this piece, dicking around with the Aga Khan and that. Now, this is from 20. What year is this from? Anyways, I got to use your words in here, so I gotta. In case anyone thinks there's a difference between the libs and the cons, think again. It is way past time to kill the party system. Look up party in etymology and you will find the word divide, which has always been the purpose of the party system. If Andrew Scheer is not prepared to cut all ties with the UN and its globalist partners, he is just the next puppet standing in the wings waiting for his chance to continue the advancement of the global agendas and the demise of our nation. Now I know this gets repetitive, but time for the moral men and women to accept the truth, then we can take back our nations. You cannot say you love your children and remain passive. Now that's just what I had to say on this story. So a think tank founded by the Aga Khan with $30 million from taxpayers. Okay, so you're worried about the guy who got a grant to go, to run a gas station. We have the Aga Khan, who's Mali, which is, that's what our immigration minister is Mali Muslim. That's what our Attorney General Ontario is Mali Muslim. That's what the Mayor of Calgary is Mali Muslim. So we have a think tank funded by the Aga Khan, or founded by the Aga Khan with $30 million of taxpayers' money, has finally moved into a prime heritage building in Ottawa 10 years after the federal government gave it a 99-year lease. The Global Center for Pluralism pays the federal government. Are you ready for this? So you, the taxpayer, forked up $30 million bucks so the Aga Khan could have his building and a 99-year lease so that he could host his Global Center for Pluralism. Now, this is a big building. Pays the federal government for the use of that building, the lease, a 99-year lease on that humongous prime heritage building in Ottawa, 4 minutes from the Prime Minister's residence at 24 Sussex. Pays for the next 99 years, each year pays the grand total of $1 per year, which is way less than what you paid for that pack of smokes there, Chris. A year to use the building at 330 Sussex Drive, formerly the Canadian War Museum. The agreement also allows the Global Center for Pluralism to lease out office space in the building at commercial rates. So let me see. We put up $30 million of taxpayers' money, give them a 99-year lease at $1 per year, and they get to rent out space at commercial rates. And it already has a tenant. So they've already leased it out to a tenant. And who is the tenant? The Royal Canadian Mint, a Crown corporation. So you, the taxpayer, put out $30 million bucks, 99-year lease, $1 per year, and the Aga Khan is renting part of that building to the Royal Canadian Mint, a Crown corporation, for, I would think, considerably more than $1 a year because they're renting it out at commercial rates. The center's opening comes after a decade of false starts and missed deadlines. It also highlights the close relationship successive Canadian governments have sought to foster with the Aga Khan, the hereditary leader of the world's Ismaili Muslims, and a well-known philanthropist. Well, who's the philanthropist here? It sounds to me like we're the philanthropists. We gave you $30 million bucks. We gave you this great big building for $1. You get to rent it at rates, at commercial rates. All of our governments are in on this, and he's a well-known philanthropist. Sounds like he's making cash hand over fist. And just so that people understand, it was Paul Martin and Stephen Harper, because I was in minority government. So it was Harper who was in government, but it was still majority government. So you can say the two governments came together. So he moves into the Heritage Digs after decades of delays. Now I don't know. I have to go here and see what the date of this story was. This story was actually posted January the 30th, 2017. But this all took place. I think this took place in 2006. So here we have Harper with the Aga Khan. Then we have Trudeau with the Aga Khan. This great big huge freaking building, which I think costs $60 million to renovate or something, and how you would spend that kind of money renovating it. It says that I think somewhere in here it said that the Aga Khan put in $30 million and we put in $30 million. But I can't possibly see how it would cost $60 million to renovate that building. So maybe we just put in the $30 million and he didn't put in any money. But I mean, this
million.
Huh?
You just got $100 million.
Well, we've given him total, supposedly total, 330 or $300+ million. And they call him a philanthropist. Well, hell, I can be a philanthropist. You go cut me a check for $500 million, and I'll hand some of it out. Right? The guy didn't make any of this money; it just gets handed to him, and the whole line.
You know, above and beyond that, money that's given away to him and others, that. Like our municipal budgets, we pay like 50, 60% to fire and police. The rest is given back to us through provincial and federal monies.
It's all our money.
Well, some people call it other people's money, which is still our money.
Well, the government has no money, right? The government didn't have any money. The only money the government gets is what they take out of your pocket.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They pass it around.
Municipally, okay? Like in your municipality, my municipality, 50, 60, even upwards of 70% goes to fire and police. Police.
Yeah.
And then anything they need for their real budget to cover any other costs come from the provincial or federal government.
Oh, I know. You've got all these municipal governments vying for grants and no-cost loans and stuff to do anything else they want to do. It's just the stupidest hustle I ever seen in my life. Let me see. I mean, this really makes me want to puke. PM seeks closeness. Oh, PMs, not just one PM. PMs seek closeness to the Aga Khan. What does he smell nice or something? What is this? The request for deadline extension and leasing authority came as the Harper government was looking to draw closer to the Ismaili leader. A 2013 memorandum for action prepared for Foreign Affairs Minister John Baird suggests options aimed at moving toward a strategic partnership with the Aga Khan. The memo states the Aga Khan had already been made a member of the Order of Canada and an honorary citizen and received privileges normally reserved for foreign heads of state and heads of government, including the right to enter and leave the country through Ottawa's Hangar 11. The memo suggests extending additional courtesies, but they are blacked out in the document released to the media. Aga Khan praises Canada for commitment to global pluralism. Okay? And we went over this in another show, is that if you go to pluralism and plurality, it basically means that the host society becomes the minority in the long run, which is exactly what the plan is. In January 2014, International Development Minister Christian Paredes announced an additional $150 million for the Aga Khan Foundation, and Prime Minister Stephen Harper wrote to the Aga Khan at his estate in Aiguemont, France, inviting him to make an official visit to Canada, where he would be given the rare privilege of addressing Parliament. So, you know, you, the poor men and women of this nation, have been hoodwinked. I don't know what the whole thing would add up to, but it is multi billions of dollars that have been redirected into pockets like the Aga Khan through CEDA, the Canadian International Agency, under Maurice Strong and whoever was running it after that. Just oodles and oodles and oodles and oodles of your labor sucked out of your pocket and shoved overseas. I mean, what is wrong with us? Well, we're Canadians and we care about everybody else on the planet, and we're more than prepared to pay high taxes and give everything away so the world could be one and be happy because, like, we're Canadians and we went to school here and they told us how we should behave and think. It just makes me want to puke. It really does, man. I mean, I just want to slap people up the head, right? You know, here, hey, Aga Khan, yeah, you like that building we give you for $1 a year? Yeah, and you can rent it out. Yeah, I got a lease there with the Canadian Mint. I charged them a ton of cash, right? So you paid for the renovation of the building. You're paying for the rent of the rent, which was a Canadian building, and now is leased for $1. So the money that used to pay for the Mint is going into his pocket. I mean, how can this is, and then, oh yeah, here's another 150 mil, right? For what? I mean, when you read this, these guys are all licking this guy's boots. Why? Well, because Islam is going to be the global faith, the global law.
No.
And, what?
You got to understand, he was also very good friends with Maurice Strong.
I know. I mean, these guys are so intertwined together, it's ridiculous. And friends with the Queen, right? You know, it's disgusting. We have got to depart from this nonsense. Right? We got to get back on a straight road. They've put us on this winding road that's apparently confused people. You know, it's got to stop. It's just got to stop. And the only ones that can stop it is us. You know, the military is going to do whatever it's told to do. And all you got to do is look at history. I mean, have you ever seen the military or the police on the side of the people, ever? Their job is to protect the corporation. So, you know, I would like to see the veterans get involved in this because they really don't have a commitment. They've been screwed around. I'd like to see the native people on board because they've been totally screwed around. And I'd like to see, you know, the average man and woman in this country stand up for their children's rights and that without, you know, begging these clowns. You know, the easiest way we can do this is just, you know, just say, okay, you go do what you want to do, but we're starting our own society and you ain't part of it. And we're going back to law. We're going to print our own money. And you guys can go and dawdle, but you ain't getting no help from us. And that's how quick you can crush them because they don't have anything. I mean, if you look at your government, you got a bunch of bobbleheads doing the bidding of outside entities, and we're paying them to cause us harm. That doesn't make any sense. So we just need to cut them loose, right? And make a proposition or you know, a claim that we're claiming the land, we're claiming the resources. You know, as far as I'm concerned, if you know, because the idea of land and property is a fraud, and that's backed up by the real estate board here. They agree it's a fraud. Everything about this so-called country is a fraud. It's based on a fraud. It was cooked up as a fraud. And why are we putting up with it? Is the question. You know, if I came and you know, it kind of reminds me when I was a little kid. I remember a guy bought a car and he was all pissed off about it. And I remember, you know, Dad's friends, and I said, "Oh, where'd you get? Oh, you got Jewed then, right? You know, you got Jewed by the tricky language of the Jewish car salesman, and who got you to believe that you were getting a great deal, when in fact you were getting screwed over, which is exactly what your government represents. Just look at it as a Jewish used car salesman." Playing with your brain to get you to believe that you're getting something that you're not, because that's what this so-called government is, a complete and total fraud. Anyway, looks like we're out of time. I got an announcement. I was talking to Willow over at Revolution Radio down where I'm going to see about moving my show from Saturday night on Revolution Radio and move it into my time slot on Sunday on UCY.tv. I got to talk to Jules about that yet. I haven't talked to her yet. If she's listening, she'll go, "What?" Yeah, it's getting to be too much, man. The Saturday night show, I never get to bed before 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I got to get up Sunday and get my brain in gear to do a 2-hour show on Sunday. So I think if I can move the show over, I'll just dump the Saturday night show. And same thing, we're still coming off of Revolution Radio and simulcasting over to UCY. So, anyways, let's hope it don't snow no more. And I hear music. Thanks, Chris, for calling in. And so I hear music means we're out of time. So take care of it.